Okay, well, it's now my great opportunity and honor to introduce our speaker, Nikki Spears. I first heard about Nikki from some folks here. Jeff Jones, Bob Tipcomb were telling me they had visited this medical clairvoyant, and they were saying how helpful she was to them. And they thought it'd be good for her to help my brother Aubrey, who is in the late stages of cancer. And I thought that's great. And so I thought before I have this person talk to help with Aubrey, I'd see her myself just to kind of check her out. And also I had some health problems myself that I really need some help with. So I saw Nikki, and she has a beautiful little office. And she told me that her story was that I'm just going to briefly talk about this because I know you're going to probably go more in depth. But she said that she's a nurse, RN, but for a number of years, works over at Virginia Oncology. And she says she's also has this gift of being a psychic and being a medium. And she said that a couple of years ago, these doctors on the other side approached her and said, we're aware of your medical background, and you're just who we're looking for as our contact person on planet Earth, as our bridge to help people. They said, we know how to perform healing for people on our side that we didn't know how to do when we were on your side of the veil, on the earth plane. And so Nikki said last year she did this just with family and friends. Her confidence grew. And beginning of this year, she put her shingles out and started opening up, and she said her business then mushroomed. And we're so lucky to have you, Nikki. And come on up and I told Nikki, the only thing we ask of anyone is to have fun. So come on up, Nikki.
Good morning. Thank you for having me to speak at your church. I see a lot of familiar faces. I see old friends. I see new friends, and I see a lot of clients that I've had in my healing business. So why am I speaking about medical intuitive healing at a church? I want you to know that everything I do and my team does is from the divine, from God. He works through the doctors that I work with and through me. So those that are a little bit scared of things like this, and there's a lot of people, and I understand, I want you to know it comes from the divine, okay? So my name is Nikki Spears. I am a medical intuitive healer. I am also a registered nurse, like he said, for 28 years now. I work with oncology patients, cancer patients, and I have a wide variety of other types of patients too. And just to put it out there, I am retiring at the end of this year so I can do this full time. So, yeah, that was my goal, and thank you to my husband, Marcus Spears, who's in the second row. He is so supportive. He's my cheerleader, and he's making it possible for me to retire and do what I love. So thank you. I want to put it out there right now. I am not a doctor. I work with doctors that are in spirit. I don't diagnose. I don't prescribe. I don't do anything that a doctor does, okay? I'm the go-between between this world and their world, okay? I'm simply another option. I can work with the people in the medical field. I can work with your doctors. I'm another option for alternative healing, okay? I do two kinds of things. As a remote healer and an in-person healer, I can do two separate types of sessions. I can see you in person in my office, which a lot of you have been in. I recognize a lot of you, and we do one-on-one healing. I also have remote healing. Remote healing is where I can do it over the internet through Zoom or whatever we come up with, and it is actually, I almost think it's more powerful that way because the spirits go to you through our connection and they heal you in your own home, okay? So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but those are the two ways that I work. So what is a medical intuitive healer? There's a lot of different ones out there. In my case, it is a combination, like Bruce said, of being a medical professional with the knowledge, a medium who can talk with the spirits and communicate, and using those two for the doctors to bring the healing through the veil. Okay? So if you think about it, they walked on this earth, they were doctors when they were here, they cross over, they get the whole picture, they get all the answers, and then they just want to come back and help. So how do they do that? Because now they're on the other side. Well, they need a medium, and they need somebody that knows what they're talking about. So that's how I got involved. So I am just the medium. I do send lots of healing, and I am a healer, but I work with them. So the spirits that I work with, let me explain. There are two main doctors, the first two that came to me years ago, and I'll tell you my story a little bit more in a little bit. But the two healers that work with me, Dr. Lau and Dr. George, which a lot of you have met in the sessions. One is, Dr. Lau is more of a Japanese descent, old healer. He's very tall, he has long beard, wears the robes like you kind of expect to see in an old-timey healer. So he is one that comes through, and his partner is Dr. George, who is his exact opposite. He is like the old country healer, the one that wore when they wore those things on their foreheads, and that's what he looks like. And he is hilarious. He's a lot of fun. He does a lot of joking while he's working and makes me laugh. Sometimes I have to be careful because people don't know what I'm seeing. So I have to be careful with that. But anyways, those are the two doctors. But that doesn't stop there. There's a whole wing of, I call it a wing, like a whole area of doctors that are specialists, and they want to help too. They just haven't found their person yet. So they're coming to help us. So if you have like a specialty, a heart condition, a gastrointestinal, lung, thyroid, whatever, there is an expert in that wings that we can call on. So my two doctors, I leave it to them. I trust them. I say, if you need some help, you need somebody that specializes, go find them. And as long as they are the highest vibration, only for the highest and best good of the client, then they are welcome. So, speaking about that, before I jump on, I want you to know that besides these doctors, there's others that step in. Very regularly, Mother Mary comes in. And so she'll stand on my right-hand side. I can feel her, see her, talk to her, and she will help with the healing in general, but she'll also help with emotional levels, spiritual levels, things like that, while I'm working with the doctors on the physical body. So I'm just letting you know there are others that are there. There are ascended masters. There's whoever works with you as your guides are there also. So we kind of work as a team. What was I going to tell you? I got sidetracked. Protection. Like I said, I only work with high vibrational spirits. I only work with who is for your highest and best good. When I come in and open up my room in the morning, and in between every single client, I make sure there's Archangel Michael comes in. I make sure my protectors are there. I put the angels in the four corners that protect, and I just say, don't let anyone in, no spirits unless they're high vibrational and for their highest and best good. So you don't have to worry about that, okay? I know people worry about bringing in negative things, and we have protection, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. There's a lot of, and just to say a little bit extra on that, there's a lot of religions out there, Christian-based and some others, that see healing as coming from an evil source if we're doing it, okay? Even my own family believes that. So they say, yeah, Nikki's doing healing, but it's got to be coming from dark forces. Makes no sense to me, because how can you be healing people and helping them if it's from a bad source? Can't happen. So that is a religion thing. So if you have that in your background, I understand completely, because that's how I grew up too. But I came out of it and learned what the truth is, and it's a whole different world. So just so you know that. Let me tell you my story. So I grew up in a very religious household, kind of like Southern Baptist to the core, okay? So it never really resonated with me, but I kind of did what I had to do to keep the peace in the house, grow up, and get out, because it didn't resonate with me at all. So I did what I had to do. As I got through college and went on about my life, I was very interested every time I saw a medium advertised or psychic or whatever, even though I knew that was taboo. I was very drawn to it. So over the years past, I was started in 2015. I started having people coming into my life that were spiritual, a lot of mediums, a lot of healers, just as people I'm involved with. And I would meet them, and I ended up going to a lot of workshops and conferences and just learning everything I could get my hands on. And I wanted to be a medium, but I thought you had to have a gift. Well, it turns out you don't, because I did not have that gift growing up. I practiced and learned and did all the work. There's a lot of work and learning and opening up that center that everybody has, okay? You have to be willing to do that. So I did that over the years, and probably 2015 till a couple years ago, that's what I was doing. And I was practicing, and I was doing readings, but it wasn't my passion. I hadn't found it yet. So I ended up in New York City. I was at a conference, and I walked in on this class that I had no intention of going to on medical intuitive healing. And I went in that class, and I thought, well, I'll do this. We'll see what comes of this. And it was interesting. I was doing what the instructor told me to do, and he kept coming to me and saying, you have a lot of healing coming out of your hands. Do you feel that? And I said, well, they're all tingly and warm. I could feel stuff, coming out. And he said, and also you've got 2 doctors standing next to you wanting to work with you. And I said, well, I saw them, but I didn't know what they wanted. I just thought they were just the random spirits hanging out with me like they do, most of the time. And he said, no, they're interested in working with you. And so it took me a while for that to sink in. I thought, how am I going to help them do this? So long story short, I became the instructor of that class, became my mentor. And we worked together weekly for over a year, just practicing. He was teaching me, he was guiding me, he was helping me scan people and feel what it feels like with certain things going on in the body, seeing things, communicating. And then, I had been working on friends and family, and all of a sudden a lot of people were like, you've got to take this to the public. People need this. They need this option. And I finally got my nerve up, and about a year ago, I opened up a place here in Virginia Beach. Some of you knew me before Virginia Beach, where I was still just doing a little here and there, different places, but now I have a place. And it really did explode. A lot of word of mouth, a lot of just people being sent to me, and they just found me. So that's spirit right there. They're sending them to me. So that's my story. That's kind of how it works. So let me tell you what a session looks like. So if you're in my office and we're in person, I'm going to have you sit down with me first, and we're going to review everything about your health. What is the problem? What is going on? Do you have pain today? Do you have a health issue that's up front and needs to be dealt with like now? Because we're still going to look at everything, but do you have something urgent? So I sit down and we talk first, and we kind of make a plan. What you don't know is in the background, I have the doctors chattering, reviewing it too, and making a plan. So I've kind of got two worlds going on when I'm doing this. Then what we do is we put you on my healing table. You don't have to do anything but relax and just let us work. I send healing the entire time, but I also communicate with them, and I give you information. I tell you what they're doing. I tell you where they're at the body, who's working on what, because sometimes I'll have multiple doctors working on you at the same time. And so I try to navigate and say, okay, so-and-so's here doing this. This is what they're getting. Okay, wait, this one's over here, and keep you involved so you know what's going on. You're not just laying there going, what's happening? So I try to be the communicator and let you know what's happening. If I do it remotely, the only difference is you're not in front of me. That's it. It works the same. We still sit down, we still go over everything, find out what you need worked on, and then I tend to go into a deeper trance when I do remote, which means I'm gone. I'm like not here. I'm somewhere else with the doctors, okay? So I have to get off of Zoom during that 30-minute period, have you lay down, meditate, read, just relax, and let us work. Now, what's funny is a lot of people are very sensitive to spirit, and they will feel everywhere from their own home. They'll say, oh, I felt them working on my knee. Oh, wait, they were up in my back. Oh, wait, I felt them do this or that, or I felt hot or cold or vibrations. So it's really interesting to see what they get. The really neat thing is most of the time I saw the exact same thing they are telling me. So there's proof, okay? I have a very sensitive medium that I work on in Rome, Italy. We do it remotely. And she gave me, I'll read it to you in just a few minutes, but she gave me a email account of what she felt during the session. And it is very detailed. And it tells you exactly, that's somebody in Rome, Italy that I'm working with that is feeling it. And the funny thing was I had just written her an email before she wrote that one saying what I saw and what I heard, and they were very close, almost identical. So I think that is awesome. Let's see, what about this? Let me tell you some testimonials I've gotten, some good things that have happened, examples of the healing. I have a lady that I worked on probably 4 or 5 times over 5 months or so, like once a month here and there. And she had really bad knee problems. I mean, down to bone on bone. She was in horrific pain, could not hardly walk. She came to me because she didn't want surgery. And I said, well, I can send them in, I'll see what they can do, and we'll go from there. So we worked on her, and she progressively got better, less and less pain. And then I kind of didn't hear from her for a little bit, and then she got back to me and said, I don't have really any pain at all. I don't have swelling, I'm doing great. She goes, but I'm going to go to the orthopedic surgeon because he wants to do more x-rays and just see if I need surgery or not. She goes, I'm not doing it, but I'm going. I said, okay, whatever. So she went in, she brought me those x-rays. The before, which was all those years of bone on bone, where the bone was touching and rubbing every time she walked. And then she brought me the x-ray of after we did all those the 5 healings, and where the doctors, what they did was try to put more new cushion between those bones, and they built it over time. That's why it wasn't like that, but they were working on it over time. And she brought me those x-rays, and there was a separation in the bones. She said her doctor told her she did no longer need any surgery and that she probably wouldn't for at least 10 years unless she got arthritis. So that made me ecstatic because I am just I just facilitate, and help heal. And they just were miraculous to me. It was miraculous. And now, to this day, she runs around and you can't tell anything's wrong with her knees. So that's one. Let's see, I have another lady, and these people all gave me permission, don't worry, to tell their stories. I would not do that otherwise. I have a lady in New York City that I do remotely, and I still heal different things off and on as they come up in her life. But the first time I ever met her was from a referral of somebody she knew down here. And she had a broken, shattered wrist. And she did not want surgery, and it was not healing right whatsoever. And it was a lot of pain, swelling. It was just really bad. So I said, of course, I always say no guarantees, but I'll send them in. Let's see what they can do. So they went in, and what I saw as the healer while we were doing the session, and this is remotely, remember, she's in New York City, what I saw was the bones coming apart, like they're all like this, okay? I saw them come apart and go back together like they're supposed to be. And I thought, well, that's me seeing that. I didn't say a word to her about that. I just wanted to see what she felt in a few days. So I told her, I said, okay, we've done our job. I gave her some things that we did. I didn't actually say I saw your bones come apart and go together. I just said I watched them work on the bones and I watched them remove the swelling and all that stuff. Call me in a week. And she said, okay. So she calls me about a week later. She says, you're not going to believe this. I said, okay, what happened? I'm getting a little worried. I'm like, what happened? Is something bad? Or I didn't know because of the way she was so anxious about it. And she said she went to her orthopedic surgeon, and he did an MRI again because he was preparing her for surgery because she knew she was seeing him the next week. And she said the MRI, he came back in the room and said, you don't need surgery. If I would have done the surgery, I couldn't have done a better job. And he said, all you need to do is go and just heal now. Everything's in place. And he said they also showed new bone growth that wasn't there before. So those doctors, that's how they work. If they can do something, they will. They will take care of it. Let's see. Let me tell you about that Rome, Italy. The healer in Rome, Italy. This is what she sent me. And remember, she's a healer too. She's a medium. And so that gives me an idea of, I feel like I'm the only one that sees everything I see when I'm doing the healings. But she picked up on everything. And this is in Rome. We're not together. And we both compared notes. Okay, this is from her. She said, I laid down and immediately felt energy running up my right leg and into my knee, and then felt this light compression envelope my knee, almost like two enormous hands were holding it, or as if I had a padded circular pillow like a donut around my knee. That remained for most of the healing work and the whole session. Then I felt like I do when I go to a craniosacral session. A surge of energy flew up from my sacrum and my hips swayed slightly up and down like someone was trying to screw on a bottle cap correctly. Like when you try to get all the grooves to match up and caps and screws down onto the bottle, which is the doctors. I see them. They grab the hips, they go like this, and they jiggle everything into place. That's what she was feeling because I saw them do it. She also felt her spine elongate and the neck elongate. She felt some palpation around her neck and on her knee. It felt like someone was palpating in both of those two areas. She took a huge sigh, flattened out, and fell asleep. So those things we compared with my notes were very close, very close. So that's an example of what some people feel. Now, if you are not sensitive, it does not mean it's not happening. It is happening. You're just not sensitive to the feelings, okay? So don't let that worry you at all. She also talked about, she felt them working on her pancreas. She felt, the thoracic cavity. She said her belly started gurgling because they were working on the pancreas and on her stomach. And she said, and I wasn't hungry, but it was gurgling like crazy. Now, if any of you guys know me and you've been in my sessions, you know my stomach gurgles the entire time. I have to explain that to everybody because they kind of look at me. Are you hungry? And I'm like, no. The energy flowing through me, it just gurgles. Well, she had that same thing happening to her in Rome, Italy, during the healing. So I thought that was really interesting. Let's see. So that's really her experience. So there's 3 things that can happen after a healing. 1, you get off the table and whatever you had wrong is fixed. I see that a lot. Knee pain, back pain, whatever is fixed. Number 2, you can start noticing changes over time where they are slowly healing things. They start the healing during our session and then it progresses and keeps going. They also work with the body because, I find that the body, with good intentions, tries to put things back the way it used to be in the old days. So say you had surgery on your knee, they're constantly trying to put it back to what it was. And then you've got inflammation and pain and this and that after your surgery. Okay, does that make sense? They're trying to put it back, and so they're fighting what you had done. So if we can get the body to quit fighting, work with us, and we work around what you had done in surgery or whatever, or hopefully not have surgery, it works very well. Then all of a sudden, you don't have any problems because your body's not fighting us. So it's really good, and we can work with the body. The third thing that can happen is you cannot get the healing that you want because there's no guarantees, okay? That is up to the spirits. And so if you have a life contract, I don't know if anybody in here understands life contracts. It's something you set up before you come to this earth about what you want to learn, experience, your life. Well, if you have set up in that life contract that you want to experience what you're going through to learn something, we cannot interfere. That was your choice. Or if it's a karmic type of thing from another, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or whatever, it doesn't matter, but it can be a karmic thing and we just can't jump in on that. Or it may just be really, 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 really advanced and that is your exit point. And sometimes we can't interfere with that, okay? So just so you know, how do you find me? Let me tell you that. I have a place behind the Cavalier Hotel off of Holly Road. It's on Holly Crescent. I've got cards, my husband has them, I've got them that have my address on it, my email, my website. You can book sessions on there if you want, or you can just call me, text me, or email me. It's all on the cards, okay? Okay, so my website is thevisionsofhealing.com. The phone number is 757-503-9461, and the email is visionsofhealing1@gmail.com. And that's it. Thank you for letting me speak.